How is someone supposed to earn a good income, save, invest, pay off debt, plan for their future, enjoy life, and still sleep, exercise, and be present with their family? I mean, that is a mouthful to say, and you might be thinking, is that even possible? Yes. It is, but only if you stop thinking about money as a set of decisions and start thinking about it as a system. I have spent years working with high achieving professionals who are smart, disciplined, and motivated, yet still feel behind, stressed, and stuck with their money. Not because they don't know what to do, but because their financial life relies too heavily on willpower. Building a financial system is how you get off the hamster wheel of constantly managing money without actually making progress. Now, let's start this conversation with a question. What is a financial system? Most people manage money through intentions and tasks. They might say, oh, I need to save more, or I should invest consistently. I need to be better with my spending. And intentions are not the problem. The problem is that intentions collapse under stress, fatigue, and real life. A financial system reduces your reliance on motivation and replaces it with processes. Instead of asking yourself to make the right decision over and over and over again, a system makes that decision once and then it runs automatically. When these processes are chained together, your money starts working even when your attention is elsewhere. So let me break down how to create your financial system using 3 key principles. And the first principle is to assume that the plan will break, because it most definitely will. Most financial plans fail because they assume ideal conditions. They assume that you're going to have enough energy, that nothing unexpected will happen. They assume that you're going to feel motivated all the time and at the right time. Assuming the plan will break is not pessimism. It's realism. So when you build a financial system, you must expect interruptions, emotional spending, market fear, and busy seasons. Oh my gosh, that is where we are right now. Now, as an academic hospitalist, I, yes, teach about medicine, but I also teach about quality improvement. And the first step in any improvement process is always the same. Understand the current state. Before you can improve a system, you have to clearly see what is already happening within that system. And the same is true with your finances. There is something that you are currently doing with your money. Whether you are aware of it or not, it's happening. The income flows somewhere. Your expenses, they're following patterns, and those decisions are repeating themselves. Your job right now, when you are creating your financial system, is to document that reality. I often teach people to use a process map to document any type of process. A system is simply a series of processes that produce a predictable outcome. And if the outcome feels chaotic, the processes are not random. They are just unexamined. So our bodies are a perfect example of this. When they function well, they keep us healthy, energized, and resilient. When they don't, it's usually not because the body is broken, but because the system is unsupported. We fail to sleep, to nourish it, to hydrate it, and then we are surprised by the outcome. Your finances work the same way, but before you can diagnose the problem, before you can talk about pathophysiology, you must understand the physiology. You have to know how the system normally works. So the first question is not, what should I be doing with my money? The first question is, what am I currently doing? From there, you separate intention from process. What parts of your financial life happen automatically, and what parts rely on effort, on memory, or willpower? Then you assume that the plan will break because the plan will break. You intentionally look for failure points. Where has this fallen apart before? Why did it fail? Where does your behavior differ from what you intended? And what do you do when you are stressed, when you are tired, or when you're overwhelmed? Where does this system depend on you being your best self, rested, calm, and motivated? And if you're overspending when you're exhausted, that's really not a discipline problem. It's a system design problem. If you stop investing when the market feels scary, and it feels scary very often, that's not a knowledge gap. It's a psychological gap. Your system must be built around who you are on your worst days, not who you are when everything is going well. So what I want you to do is to list those failures, not as personal shortcomings, but as data. That analysis shows you exactly where intervention is needed. And assuming the plan will break is not pessimism. Okay. It is exactly how you design a system that will actually work for you and continue to work for you. All right. So now for the second principle, which is build for the bad days. A system that only works when you feel motivated is not a system. Your financial system must work when you are tired, when you're busy, when you're distracted or emotionally depleted. And so this means that you must reduce manual tasks and remove decisions where possible. Once you see the breakdown, you can build safeguards. You can redesign the system to prevent failure or at least reduce the damage when it happens. Automation, separation, defaults, and friction are not restrictions. They are protective mechanisms. So building for bad days looks like automating savings and investing before your money actually hits your checking account. It might look like separating your spending money from your long-term money and maybe adding an additional account so that money is not even in the same bank, again, to add a level of friction. This might look like creating rules for financial decisions before emotions show up, meaning that you're not going to buy or sell investments on a particular day because maybe that day is leading you to purchase or sell emotionally. This might look like designing default behaviors that move you forward without effort. So if your progress depends on remembering or on resisting, it will eventually fail. And the goal is not perfection, people. The goal is consistency. So let's build our systems for the bad days by evaluating what is currently happening and assuming that it's going to break down. Now let's give an example for how you can turn a broken plan into a system. Let's say that your plan is to invest whatever is left at the end of the month. That plan breaks when your expenses creep up or when fear enters the picture. And really, the reality is that there's often little left at the end of the month and that the days go by so fast because we're so busy that we lose track of time and don't do the things when we say that we're actually going to do them. Can I get an amen? A systems approach asks a different question. How can this work even when things are not ideal? The solution might be investing automatically on payday or lowering the amounts of your investments to ensure consistency regardless of what is happening in the market and giving you some margin in the case that some expenses might increase throughout the year. The solution might be keeping your emergency savings separate so market volatility does not derail you, and reducing visibility of your investment accounts to limit all of that emotional interference. Then you must ask again, what could still make this system fail? And you want to adjust until the system holds true. So that first and that second step, that's an iterative process. You might go through a couple versions of that. And once you do, you'll get to the third principle, which is simplify the system. You created the system, made it so it works on bad days, and now you have to simplify the system. Because most people respond to financial stress by adding more tools, more tracking, more accounts, more rules. But complexity is often a sign of an unstable system. So early systems might rely on some of these temporary fixes. These might help in the short term, but also create some fragility. I'll give you an example of this. I used to open up new accounts for whatever incentive the bank was offering, $300 here, $400 here. So I would go into the bank, sometimes a new bank, open up a new account so that I could get the incentive, only to find that the online banking was very clunky and not user-friendly, posing a greater headache and adding a level of complexity than what I gained in that short period. Now I have simplified our banks. We still have a significant amount of banks. We have 4 banks, one for our emergency fund, one for general banking, another for our mortgage, and those for our businesses. Simplifying the system means removing anything that is only propping things up. It's like a faulty support. If you rely on credit cards to manage your cash flow, then the issue is structure, not spending. And if you need constant tracking to stay in control, the issue is unclear priorities. So your goal is to remove any conditions, any factors that are not required for success. We don't want you just to stack more work on top of yourself just for the sake of doing it. Now, I know as I'm talking about this, assuming that this plan is going to break and building a system for bad days and then simplifying, getting rid of things, leaning out, eliminating might feel uncomfortable. And simpler systems often feel that way at first. Automating money feels like you're giving up control. Setting up boundaries around your lifestyle inflation can feel awkward. Hiding your investments, putting them in a separate account, so out of sight, out of mind, might feel like you're ignoring or not paying attention. But that discomfort of change is almost always less than the discomfort of the financial anxiety, the stagnation, or the regret that you'll feel from continuing on operating a system that does not work for you. Remember, different systems create different outcomes, and we're all about improving outcomes in our lives and in our finances. And when you do, when you change your systems, when you create better systems, your life runs on the system instead of willpower. You will stop negotiating with yourself. You will stop reacting emotionally to money. You will stop finally feeling behind because progress becomes predictable. Your decisions become easier, and then money becomes a tool and not a stressor. Financial freedom is not built through perfect discipline. It's built through systems designed for real life. Assume that the plan will break, build for bad days, and simplify the system. If this video has changed how you think about money, then I ask that you share it with someone who's still frustrated with their finances, okay? Let's help that person out. And after you've shared this video, if you are desiring to learn more about how you can actually create a system that is designed for autonomy, then you should watch this video right here that will help you to understand how to do just that. Well, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting and sharing. And until next time, people, stay joyful. Bye-bye.